All right, hi, Miss Swanger. How are you today?
I'm all right. I have bronchitis, so
I'm sorry you're not feeling
that's
good.
all right.
So we met a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about our goals for our work together, and we discussed your literal and non-literal small group. And the goal that you said that you wanted to work towards was to pull data to determine what students to pull into your group. And then you wanted to utilize the teaching strategy of modeling literal and non-literal words and phrases for your students.
Yeah.
Do you still feel okay about that goal?
Yes.
Okay.
For sure.
I wanted to ask, do you typically pull groups based on summative data or more on just student observations?
More student observations and like non-formal assessments that are given throughout the day.
Okay, all right. Well, that's definitely something that we'll work towards this next time, and I'll show you how to pull data, more formative or summative data for your small group. I've created a checklist that I shared with you, so you have a digital copy and you have a hard copy. And I'm just going to go over that, and we're going to utilize this checklist to determine the specifics of our goal. Okay. So the first task is to utilize Synergy to pull data for student small groups. The teacher will make connections to background knowledge of the content. The teacher models for students how to identify a literal and non-literal word phrase. The teacher models how to think through the meaning of the literal and non-literal word phrase. The teacher asks open-ended questions using reading strategies students have learned in class. And lastly, the teacher will formatively assess student understanding of literal and non-literal words, phrases using a rubric. Is there anything that you would add or modify on this checklist?
No, I think it covers everything, especially with the thinking through the meaning.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very important because the kids don't really know how to think through
meaning
without prompts and open-ended questions. So I think that's great.
Okay. And I thought that went, with you modeling, not only identifying, but thinking through it. And then it also has that data component to it. So there's nothing that you would change.
No, it's great.
All right. How would you know if your students have mastered the content?
Through my observations in the small group, and if their answers are what the meaning is of the non-literal phrase, and then hopefully our next summative assessment that they'll be able to master it as well.
Okay, all right. How would you like for me to demonstrate pulling data and modeling, thinking through the meaning of literal and non-literal phrases? Would you like more hands-on? Would you like me to come into your classroom, or would you like me to do it like a screencast?
A screencast would be great, and talking me through that.
Sure, so we could do both.
Okay.
I'll do a screencast to show you how to utilize Synergy to pull the data for your groups.
Yes.
And then I can push in to model. That way you have both of those to go back to and refer, and we can kind of discuss and debrief. So I will create the screencast for you. When do you think you want to implement this lesson with your own students?
I'm thinking next Thursday.
Okay. All right. Well then.
I don't know the date exactly.
That's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. But next Thursday during reading.
Okay, during reading time. All right. Well then I will create the video, and then I'll come in, and then we can debrief, and we'll see how you are progressing toward your goal.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you
for your help.
Of course.
Hi, Miss Swanger. So I wanted to create a video for you where you would be able to analyze your student data for your literal and non-literal small groups. So you're going to log into your Gwinnett County eClass landing page, and from here you're going to click on the icon Synergy Tools. Once your Synergy Tools has loaded, at the top, you are looking for the tool that's called Assessment, and you're going to click on this icon. This is where all of the common formative assessments that our students take are housed, and this is where you can pull your student data for your small groups. One thing that I find very helpful is to sort the common formative assessments based on the content area. So on the left-hand side, you're going to scroll down and you're going to find under Select Search, you're going to click the subject Language Arts and then apply that filter. This is just going to really narrow the common formative assessments down just to Language Arts. That way it's a little easier to sift through. That way you just don't have to scroll through the page of math and science and social studies. From here, you're going to click in the middle, this Scheduled for your classes. And again, this is where all of your common formative assessment data is housed in Synergy. For the purposes of this video, I'm going to use my class data, but obviously it would be different for you. You would have your common formative assessments. You see that there are two Language Arts common formative assessments, Unit 2 and Unit 3. You're going to want to select the Unit 3 since the AKS 4 literal and non-literal standard is included in that unit. So once you click on that, it opens up, and this is where we can really dig in and analyze our student data. After clicking that specific unit, you're going to want to narrow the data down to just the literal and non-literal AKS to see which students performed at or below proficiency. And so one way you can do that is by clicking on this Reports button. You are going to want to click Student Assessment Results. Obviously, there are lots of different types of reports that you could sift through. I find this one very helpful in narrowing down the AKS and determining which students need support for specific AKS. So I'm going to click on this Student Assessment Results. And when that opens, you're going to click, you can pick either one, PDF, Word, Excel. I just personally like the PDF, so I'm going to go ahead and open. And it's going to pull up student data. What you're looking for is you are looking for this AKS 4 right here. Determine the meaning of words and phrases as they are used in a text and distinguishing literal from figurative language. And so over here to the side, you can see that this student, she scored at proficiency. So that would be a student that I would not necessarily pull for a remediation group. I might pull her for an enrichment or an acceleration group. And what you can do from here is you can go through and you can make a list of your students that need support in your specific AKS, and you have chosen that AKS 4 literal, non-literal phrases, and you can see this student would need some support. So if this were in my classroom, I would definitely pull this student and give her some more opportunities to work with literal and non-literal words, and give her more opportunities to just practice and get support. I hope that was very helpful for you in pulling your data for your small groups, and I can't wait to meet back with you this week and see me model and then get you in your classroom and pull your small group based on the data and then model literal and non-literal phrases with your checklist.